Well, hello. We've been waiting for you. Please sign in. We've got a busy day. Please enter and have a seat. Sit up straight. No slouching in this classroom. Is that gum in your mouth? Sorry, my mistake. Listen closely and repeat what you've heard by clicking on the correct panels. You're doing great! Way to go! Nice work! Way to go! Only one more lock to go. That's it, you open the door. Now, be quiet and follow me. First, though, let me put this in a safe place. It's the utility belt that Professor Spark designed for me, and it's quite an achievement. Over there's a button that will take you out of any room in the mountain. The indicator next to it tells you how much energy is left to power the mountain. Now, if you ever need assistance, push on this button, and I'll do what I can to help. In the middle of the belt is the inventory. That's where we can store things we find in the mountain. The Transquizzer, for instance. Professor Spark has set up a lot of games inside the mountain for Polly, me, and the other robots. If you click on this button, you can make some of them harder or easier to play. Finally, this score keeps track of how many invention points we earn. By opening the door, you've already earned a few points. Now, our destiny. Right, it looks like the disc should be inserted in the slot near the top of the Transquizzer. Good morning, Polly. I hope you've studied for the quiz today. You may have a lot of natural ability, but even geniuses need to study. It's Polly's teacher, Ms. Winkle. At that school on the hill, everything's state-of-the-art. All the quizzes are personalized, programmed, and videotaped by the teacher. Pretty cool, huh? Now, today's quiz is all about inventions and discoveries, something you should know plenty about, Polly. But no fair asking your father for help. There are 25 questions total, Polly. 5 on each of the 5 discs I've passed out to you and the rest of the class. That's 5 different levels.
So, sit up straight, put on your thinking cap, and select your first question.
Okay, what we should do first is select one of the quiz questions. Just click on any one of the 5 buttons near the bottom of the transquizzer. Since we've got to bring all the robots back, the order doesn't really matter.
Baseball games usually take 2.5 hours, but only 8 minutes of that time is action. That's a lot of waiting around. It's no wonder that basketball, not baseball, is watched by more people in America than any other sport. Baseball was invented in the summer. Why do you think basketball was invented during the winter? This is an easy one, Miss Winkle. Basketball was invented in winter to give snowmen something to play. I mean, think about it. Whose life is more boring than a snowman's? All they do is stand around waiting to melt. Well, Polly, you slam dunked that one. Basketball was indeed invented as a winter sport for snowmen. And believe you me, 7-foot snowmen are extremely grateful to have something to do besides stand around in the cold.
Snowmen playing basketball? You can't bring snowmen inside. They'll melt all over the court. We better do something quick. The lives of millions of snowmen depend on us. Click on the inventory button to put away the transquizzer.
Well, it just so happens, Sotley, that I realized long ago that you would try to mess up my work, so I covered my tracks by hiding clues all over the mountain. 4 clues total.
Well, Polly, okay. It looks like we have no choice but to play by your rules, as unfair as they are. Just tell us what we need to find for this mission.
Calm down, Shockley. So what if I sent Danny DeFrostbot back in time? He'll heat things up a bit. Now, if you have a problem with that, you'll have to find these 4 clues. A handkerchief, a blue ox, a fish, and a whistle. Smokin'.
Danny DeFrostbot. He was always a bit hot under the collar, but I can't believe he's willing to melt the world's snowmen. Polly's reprogrammed him, I'm sure of it. Let's find those clues. We have to get Danny back. Stand back now while I sense the place out. Okay, all sensors indicate that Polly hit a mission clue in the professor's virtual collection. That's in the art gallery. This is Professor Sparks' art gallery. It's sort of an art museum and an art studio combined. That odd-looking machine over there is his virtual collection, where the professor keeps a display of some of the most famous works of art in the world. You can also go into the painting gallery in the back to create your own masterpiece. Don't forget to bring your imagination.
If you're going to visit the gallery, you let me know if you find any of Polly's things hidden in there. If I've told her once, I've told her 1,000 times, don't mess up the collection. Of course, she doesn't listen to me. Why, once I found a Romanesque urn next to a Baroque.
That's Mrs. Beasley. She's the resident art expert. Some say she's as old as some of the Greco-Roman statues in here.
I heard that, you hotshot silicon chipsters. So smart and so fast and so what? I've got more sense in my vacuum tubes than a lot of you.
Well, if we have any questions about the art, we'll be sure to ask you. Check out the virtual collection. I sense there's a mission clue there.
Good work, Snotley. Now you just have to figure out which of Daddy's great works I hid the mission clue in.
We need a clue.
Quick, Snotley. What U.S. state is famous for its peaches?
Peaches from Georgia are famous all around the world, and Georgia happens to be the first name of an artist whose portrait I love. Let's go.
See that drum on the right side of the machine? That displays time.
This is over time, photographs have become the most popular way of capturing a person's portrait. This portrait is a photograph of one of America's most important artists, Georgia O'Keeffe, standing in front of one of her beautiful paintings. Did you notice the regal profile of her face? Georgia O'Keeffe moved to New Mexico and began painting mysterious images of the desert landscape around her.
You did it! This floor's empty. Let's try another one. You'll see that as we go up higher in the mountain, the professor's inventions get more secret and bizarre. Here we have the professor's delicate biosphere. And over there, we have the professor's shrinkomatic, an easy way to shed a few robot pounds. That tram there will take us even further up into the mountain and to some of the professor's other inventions, including his famous time machine. If you want to go back to the first floor, click on these stairs. Sensors on. I'm going to run a sweep of this floor. Great. I've got a strong reading in the professor's biosphere. See that glass dome? That's Professor Spark's biosphere. In it, he can grow anything he wants from any part of the world. It's kind of like a vegetable zoo. And to protect the biosphere from outside contamination, the professor has set up a remote control way of working inside it. See over there? Those are explorers the professor designed to fly into the biosphere. And on that monitor is where you can watch the explorer as you maneuver it anywhere you want. Inside, there are 5 different environments to check out. A desert, a rainforest, a mountain range, a grassland, and even an ocean. Each one contains plants and animals you might find in those places.
Oh, Monthly, over here. Daddy doesn't deserve all the credit. I planted some things in the biosphere, too.
Sure, Polly. Whatever you say.
I did. You don't have to believe me, but I just thought you might be interested in knowing that I planted a mission clue in there. You can't get your poor robot friend back without it. Don't expect me to tell you where I hid it, though. That would be too easy.
Polly, the biosphere's huge. You're expecting us to find a needle in the haystack, so to speak.
Relax, Nutley. I know Daddy didn't exactly overload you with smarts. I guess I can even the playing field and give you some hints along the way. And here's your first hint. Get one of those explorers launched. Even you should be able to understand that.
Boy, someday. Well, let's launch one of these babies and see what Polly's got in store for us inside that biosphere. Click on the launch button on the console to send the explorer inside. This is weird. It seems like the explorer is underground. I guess what we need to do is fly up into the biosphere. That should be right above us. To fly the explorer, use the arrow keys on your keyboard. Press the up arrow to blast the explorer forward, and press the left and right arrows to rotate it.
rush with this one, Rotley. Take time to smell the roses. Which animal can see colors very clearly? A bat, a butterfly, or a prairie dog? Big deal, you got one right. Don't scowl, Potley. This'll be over soon. The cries of which animal can be heard a mile away? A mule, a howler monkey, a linsang. Everyone knows that. These questions are obviously too easy. I'll have to make them tougher. Which animal doesn't know how to fly? A flying squirrel, a hummingbird, or a seagull? Everyone knows that. Maybe this animal should just wear golf clothes, huh, Motley? Which type of animal sometimes has bright wings to advertise how bad it tastes? A parrot, a grasshopper, or a moth? I knew you'd get that one. Try this one, sucker. Which animal has suction cups on its feet for climbing trees? A flying fish, a zebra, a tree frog? Big deal, you got one right.
Good job! We're above ground. The professor reproduced 5 different environments here. You have to find the one where Polly hid her clue. Press the spacebar to launch a probe. It'll give you an eyewitness view of what's down there. Then match what you find with Polly's hints. When you think you figured out the right environment, land the Explorer in the designated landing pad. Each environment has one. Hey, nice land. All right, you snagged that clue. Okay, all sensors indicate that Polly hid a mission clue in the shrinking machine. This is Professor Sparks' masterpiece. Well, one of them anyway. He calls it the something or other. We call it the Shrink-O-Matic. It can reduce anything or anyone to the size of a medium-large molecule with the help of my good friend Egbert.
Oh yes, so if you want to know about any of my wonderful specimens, just pick up this analyzer and click on it. But please, don't hurt the specimens.
Well, that'll come in handy when you go searching for the mission clue, because I miniaturized it and hid it inside one of those specimens.
Which specimen, Polly? Give us a hint.
Okay, Potley, okay. Anything to stop your whining. See that pencil behind Egbert's ear? This specimen was used to make both Egbert's pencil and a diamond wedding ring.
My life is devoted to science. The pencil is by far the more valuable of the two.
So we have to figure out which specimen Polly is talking about. That's where Egbert will come in handy. You use his analyzer to get information on any of the specimens and to help you determine which is the right one. When you think you know the right specimen, hand the analyzer back to Egbert. You can then move the specimen over to the Shrink-O-Matic. Once it's there, Egbert can shrink me to the size of a molecule. Then I can dive into the specimen and find what we're looking for. Do you think that's...
Ready, Botley? Hold on tight. It is some ride, I'm told.
Oh my! If you chose the right specimen, the object Polly hid should be somewhere inside that giant molecular thingamabob up there. You just have to bat me into that stuff until it's revealed. Click on the mouse button to launch me into inner space, then use the mouse to move the magnet. I can't stay small forever, though, so try to get through the molecules before I return to my regular size. I won't last more than 10 rounds in here, so you have to work quick. Click on the mouse to launch me. Way to go! You freed the clue that Polly hid. Now put it into your inventory so we can get back to saving life as we know it. I think we should go to... Oh, and over there? But careful now, I'm gonna sense around here. Okay, all sensors indicate that Polly hid a mission clue in the robot. This is the most dangerous part of the mountain. That's why Professor... Fantastic! The robot made it beautiful! All right, we got all the mission clues. Now all we need is enough invention points. We need one... Hey, we're back at the maze. And look, there's another box down there. Should we investigate and see if Polly has left a mission clue here? Fantastic! All right, we got all the... Hey, we're back at the maze. And look, there's another box down there. Should we investigate and see if Polly has left a mission clue here? Fantastic! The robot made it maze. You are so grammar. We made it! Wow! Excuse me if I sound sort of odd, but I wasn't sure we'd make it to the time machine mission control. It's impressive. This is Professor Spark's most important work to date. The time machine extraordinaire. The professor created it so he could witness the invention of anything you could think of. Just go back in time and observe. He would never meddle, not like Polly. When he finds out what she's been up to, I wouldn't be surprised if she's in for some serious time out. Now we need to figure out where we have to go in history to complete this mission. That odd-looking machine will help with that task. It's called the Wheel of Invention, and by using Polly's mission clues, we can figure out which inventor we need to find. The professor tried to ensure that not just anybody could use the time machine. You need to know something about history, science, art, a little bit of everything, really. So click on the wheel and let's get going. We finally made it. This is where we bring everything together and figure out how to find the robot that Polly sent back in time. This is the professor's Wheel of Invention. It's an obstacle to the time machine. You see, some of the robots kept wanting to travel back in time to taunt the early computers. But you can't have that. So the professor devised a little quiz that's too difficult for the robots. But hopefully it's not too difficult for you. Oh, brother. Polly's reprogrammed the wheel so it's no longer just a quiz. It's a quiz show. It seems the show's called Hollywood Squares. You're the first contestant.
This is how you play. Answer 3 questions for each of the clues you collected. You'll find out what, when, where, and who. All the information you need to create a profile of your mission.
Once the game begins, you gotta work fast and try to answer each question on the first try. That way you'll win the time key faster and win the most points. Ready, set, okay, let's begin. Just click the on button to start.
Hey, kids, do you know what time it is? It's time once again for Hollywood Squares. Win this round and we'll send you on an all-expense-paid round-trip holiday to rescue Danny D. Frostbot from history. Your first clue is a handkerchief. The handkerchief will lead you to the subject of your first mission. In ancient Rome, a losing gladiator could ask the spectators to spare his life. If the spectators waved their handkerchiefs, his life was spared. Where in ancient Rome did the gladiators fight? The arenas in Roman amphitheaters were the place where gladiators risked their lives for the sweet smell of victory. In an arena, spectators sit in a circle or oval all the way around the playing area. Which sport could you watch in an arena today? Perfectamundo! Tennis started in ancient France as handball. Tennis is played on a rectangular court. What other sport is played on a court? Slam dunk time out. You found what this mission is all about. Basketball.
So, Polly sent Danny to Frostbot to foul up the invention of basketball. Keep going, you're doing great.
Your second clue is a blue ox. The blue ox will show you where your mission will take you. In a famous tall tale, a blue ox named Babe is the companion of a lumberjack named Paul Bunyan. What was the most distinguishing feature of Paul Bunyan and his blue ox, Babe? Exactly. Legend has it that Paul Bunyan and Babe were so big they dug the Grand Canyon. Giants are things that are bigger than normal. Which giant tree is the largest living thing on Earth? Great going! There's a good reason why the giant sequoia is giant. Some of them have been growing for 4,000 years. The giant sequoia grows in only one country on Earth. Which country is that? Fabulous! The United States is the home of the giant sequoia. and also the birthplace of basketball. Basketball is the only major sport that was invented in America.
I didn't know that. Let's keep going and find Danny DeFrostbot. The invention of basketball, of all things, is in jeopardy.
Your third clue is a fish. The fish will show you when in history you need to go. Unlike animals on land, fish never stop growing. The older they get, the bigger they get. What do you call a collection of fish that live together? A whale of an answer. Fish form schools because it's safer to hang out in groups than to live alone. How do you catch a school of fish? Talk about school spirit, but it's far easier to catch a school of fish in nets than to hook them with fishing rods one by one. But nets are not only used for fishing, you know. Nets open at the bottom were first used by basketball players in 1912. That was 21 years after basketball was invented. When was basketball invented? Swish! Basketball was invented in 1891. It took over 2 decades for today's basketball nets to be invented. The very first game was played with peach baskets instead of nets.
Swish! You did it again. All we need is the name of the American who invented basketball in 1891.
Your fourth clue is a whistle. It will lead you to who you need to find on your mission. When you blow into a whistle, the air inside vibrates. That's what makes the sound. Ancient whistles were made from bird bones. The ancient whistle was an early version of which musical instrument? Fantastic! Flutes make beautiful, sweet sounds when you blow into them. Flutes weren't always used for playing music, though. The ancient Greeks used flutes during sporting events, just like referees use whistles today. Where could you hear a flute in ancient Greece? Score! In a Greek gymnasium, the person in charge of coaching the athletes used a flute to mark the beginning and end of sports matches. In gymnasiums today, gym teachers use whistles instead of flutes. Who was a famous gym teacher? Good! James Nesmith was a gym teacher who became famous for inventing a sport that could be played indoors during winter. That sport was basketball.
All right! In 1890. Wow! I never thought I'd see the inside of this thing. Pretty cool, huh? The professor made it clear this time machine was off limits to anyone but him. But with Polly about to send the world out of control, I think the professor would understand. That looks like our window into the past. Look, all the information you found at the wheel is now neatly in place up there. I guess the time key did that. This lever looks important. Click on me if you think I should pull it. Maybe it'll start things up. Ready for a little one-on-one? A gym teacher in America is about to invent basketball. Let's go! It's James Naismith hanging the world's first basketball net, a peach basket. But what has Polly put Danny DeFrostbot up to? Snowmen can't play indoor sports. You better hit that recall button before basketball becomes a complete washout. This is where the professor stores all his time-traveling robots. I call it the Robot Roost. Believe you me, these guys have been around the block a few times. The problem is, we have to get them all back from different places and times that Polly sent them. Right now, though,